Back to our top story, the surprise retirement announcement of LAPD Chief Charlie Beck.
His time as top cop has been punctuated by both ups and downs. And now the city looks to its next law enforcement leader.
Right now we are joined by political commentator Jasmyne Cannick, joining us live from the LAPD Southwest Division in South LA.
And Jasmyne, you've been following the chief and his dealings with the community for quite some time now. What do you make of today's announcement, and were you surprised by it?
I definitely wasn't surprised about it, and I thought, oh, happy day. I think a lot of people were celebrating today, both inside the department and out inside in the community. I think there's a collective feeling amongst both officers and the community that aside from Daryl Gates, this has probably been our worst police chief. And I'm looking forward to closing this chapter and moving forward and bringing in someone that really wants to work with the community and improve law enforcement relations with the community.
All right, Jasmyne, so we should ask you then, with that opinion in mind, what would you be looking for? Again, these are appointed positions. Her first 5-year term can serve 2 terms. What would you like to see?
Well, one of the first things I would like to see is us break from the tradition of having a white male as our police chief. Here in Los Angeles, I think this is a very diverse city. I think we have a very diverse police department. We can look at maybe bringing in a female chief, maybe bringing in someone who is a person of color. I think if you look at the trend across the country, you'll see that there are more and more African-American chiefs of police, Latino chiefs of police. I think that that was a huge disconnect with Chief Charlie Beck.
Jasmyne, do you care if this person is from in or out of the department?
You know, what I care about is that whoever replaces Chief Beck comes into that position and wants to make change, doesn't want to just go with the usual. That was one of the big issues with Chief Beck. He basically continued on a pattern of favoritism and looking out for those who were his favorites, those who were in the in club. We need to find someone who is going to shake things up, who is going to do things differently. Whether that person comes from within the department or outside the department, for me, it doesn't matter. I just want to see that change.
Well, in all fairness, we should note that we have had in recent memory 2 police chiefs who were African American.
Right.
So we have had that history. Can you look at anything with Chief Charlie Beck and point it as something that you would call an accomplishment, something good?
No. We're talking about a police chief who had a tenure that was mirrored in scandals, whether it was officers, you know, getting in fights at bars and calling African Americans monkeys and then getting slapped on the wrist with just suspensions, or it was fudging crime numbers, or it was the cadet sex scandal, or it was captains stealing money from PAL organizations in the city, you know, settling lawsuits and secretly trying to put the money back. I mean, this is a chief of police who had scandal after scandal after scandal. And I think many of us are going to be very happy when June 27th comes.
Jasmyne, in fairness to the chief, he came in when there were extreme budget cuts going on. Also, he is credited with cleaning up after the Rampart scandal. Is there nothing positive that you can say about this chief on balance?
There's nothing positive that I can point to. I also want to bring up the fact that he came into this position and he continued a pattern of favoritism. You have to also look at our numbers. We have paid out record amounts of money in terms of civil lawsuits, both from civilians and officers, based on civil rights violations, based on retaliation within the department. We have paid millions and millions of dollars, and a lot of that had to do with policies that Chief Charlie Beck supported. Not to mention, and I would be remiss if I didn't say this, the community has long called for Chief Beck to re-examine and look at the policies and procedures around officer-involved shootings. And for practically his entire tenure, he has been unwilling to do that. Yet in this city, we continue to have some of the highest incidents of officer-involved shootings. So we need a lot of change, not just from the community side, but also within the department in terms of their policies and procedures. And we're only going to get that with a new leader.
Thank you.
Guessing she'll be watching that very closely.
Yes.
you.
As the new leader.
Who the
comes.
successor will be, and of course we'll be hearing from other people on this very important development as well. Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you.